First thing first, let me know y'all thoughts on today's new episode down below. Look, it's getting good, y'all. It's getting good. Next week, what I've been saying I wanted to see. I wanted to see Danny's reaction when Ashley and Andre walk in there. And she gonna react. She be upset. If y'all didn't see the preview, she's gonna be highly upset. She gonna end up, I don't know what they gonna be. I don't know if she throwing something or breaking something. Either way it goes, she gonna have a fit. She gonna be blindsided. See, this is why I say you gotta always tell people they don't know what it is, what it ain't. I mean, that doesn't necessarily mean that they won't be blindsided or they won't feel some type of way or whatever. But yeah, Danny gonna be upset next week. And Haley over here look like she about to join forces with the crazy lady, the crazy wig lady. What's her name? Leslie. But yeah, first thing first, let me know your thoughts on today's new episode down below. What did y'all think? What did y'all think of the promo? If y'all actually saw it, let me know. Look, this whole Kendall situation, I don't think it's over. I definitely don't think it's over. I think they sent the worst person to try to intimidate somebody. I don't know if they wanted to intimidate him or if they wanted him to do anything. I'm assuming they wanted Randy to intimidate Kenneth and make him leave town. But I don't know, because based on the preview, I don't know if Randy had the weapon in his hand, but they show a fast clip where it looked like Joey's arm and he's grabbing the weapon. And then Doug walks in and he said, "What's going on?" or something he said. I think he said, "What the H word?" I don't know. So I was like, was his job to intimidate him or what? I said, y'all don't sit the worst person. I said, you'll sit the worst person. He know how dangerous Joey is, and he still was over here trying to tell Doug, do this and do that, stop gambling and all this other stuff. Not only that, he threatened his family. Then he threatened his family. They don't send the worst person. I said, y'all don't send him. I was already looking at Bill sideways. I was like, Bill, what you gonna do? I said, Bill, what you gonna do? Then when he threw the bag on the table, I said, ain't nothing in there. It didn't even sound like that. Wasn't he supposed to bring him 100K? I said, that what that sound like? But yeah, okay, on today's episode, we're going to start with Martin, Bill, and Joey. So Martin ends up going to the casino in that back room or whatever, and Bill shows up. He's like, what are you doing here? So he ends up telling him he going to blow everything. He's trying to convince him to leave. He's like, I'm not going nowhere. This affects me or whatever. So he's trying to explain to him what's going to go down and all this stuff, and he's not listening. He still won't go nowhere. He finally managed to convince him to leave, and Joey came out of nowhere. Joey ends up coming out of nowhere, and he was like, do you think the kid will listen? And I was like, no. So they showed him. Martin ends up going back to the little club or whatever, and he sees Ken. First, they showed a new dude. I don't know if they ever showed him before or not. I said, who that in the bag? Y'all heard the audio. I said, who is that? But then they showed Kenneth, and I said, he must be onto them. But no, he ends up going and change or whatever out his little uniform or whatever, and he was about to follow him. Martin was about to follow him. I think he was talking to Diego first. But yeah, Martin was about to follow him. Then Diego stopped him, asking why he hasn't been in the gym lately and stuff. And I was like, dude, I'm glad he stopped him though. But regardless, I don't think Ken was going nowhere. I don't think he was phased at all by them. I think he thought all that stuff through. He might be working with somebody. You never know. But yeah, I don't think he was phased. He was acting kind of scary and stuff. Especially when Bill came, and then when Randy came at the end of the episode. I think he pulled out his weapon and stuff like that, and he was kind of jumpy. But I don't know. I don't think he going nowhere. But yeah, let's see who else. Like I said, Joey was asking Bill if he thought that Martin was gonna listen. I said no. So then Joey started trying to convince Bill to join forces with him, trying to convince him to be his partner so he could use his skills. And Bill was like, no, he owned a top law firm in wherever they live at or whatever, and all this other stuff. Joey didn't care. He still told myself, if you ever change your mind, let him know. I said, he gonna end up needing him for something. They always do. He gonna need his help with something. So then at that point, I think, did they go back to that scene? I think they had left. Then they showed Kenneth going into the back casino or whatever. Y'all know where they be at, where Vanessa and Joey was hooking up at. So then Bill walks in. I said, Bill, I can't take him seriously in that scene. He was Enzo telling him all the dude cared about was his money. He kind of seemed desperate for it. So he was like, is that my money? Because Bill was warning him. He was in the, hold on, let me find it first. Let me make sure I find it. I know I wrote it down somewhere. Let's see. Yeah, Bill ends up telling Kenneth he needs to leave or suffer the consequences. That's when he's like, yeah, is that my money? I said, he ain't listening to him. I said, he seen on face. I said, watch y'all back. I don't know. But yeah, then Bill tells him he giving him 2 days to leave. But after that, the dude, he don't sit up here. He don't got comfortable. He don't sit down, start counting his money. I was like, these people, if you're in a dangerous situation, they just threaten you and everything. Why would you sit down and start counting some money? So then here come Randy. I said, wait, I skipped the part. I remember now. I skipped the part. They showed Randy, and I was like, Randy back. I said, about time, where he been at? So Joy telling him, you know what to do and all this other stuff. And he's like, are you scared? Joy want him to do something. I don't think they said what they wanted him to do. And he's like, basically, he seemed scared. He definitely seemed scared. I said, they don't sent the worst person to try to sit up here and intimidate somebody. I don't know if he's supposed to be actually, murder him or anything like that. I'm assuming that he's supposed to be just intimidating him. I said, what he gonna do? He was saying Randy. Randy over here, his family done got threatened, and he's still trying to tell his friend to stop gambling and stuff, even though Joy told him he got eyes and ears everywhere. So what he supposed to do? But yeah, they showed Randy walk in or whatever, and the dude got scared. He started jumping or whatever. And I don't know, what did Randy say? I think he told him not to move. He told him something, and he pulled out his weapon on him. But on next week, they showed a preview where, what's that? They showed a preview next week where Joey and Randy gonna be standing back there, and look like, I don't know if Randy gonna have a weapon in his hand or what, but they do show Joey hand move real fast and he grabbing the weapon. Doug's supposed to walk in and saying, what, the H word? Then they show a scene where it's Vanessa, Doug, and Randy, and Vanessa saying to Randy, yeah, like you scared of Joey or whatever. He said he's terrified. He said he's terrified of him. I said, you need to be. I said, really, all three of y'all should be terrified. Matter of fact. But yeah, what else? Let's see. Who else got? Chelsea, Kat. I think they was on the phone. Was they on the phone? Yeah, because Kat was saying how Eva ended up leaving early. Chelsea ends up telling Kat how Madison stood her up. She didn't show up or whatever. But she ends up coming. Madison ends up coming, and she was saying something about somebody got sick, and she was helping them, and he threw up all over her clothes, and that's the reason why she had on scrubs and stuff like that. They said that she's supposed to be presenting an offer to Bill, but they didn't show that. They just showed Joey. I was wondering why they said she's supposed to be presenting the offer. They must have made a mistake, y'all. But yeah, Madison was just explaining, why she was late. Let me see. What else? That lady don't pop back up, Allison. But yeah, Madison and Chelsea was talking about moving too fast because, they done hooked up and they just sharing how they feel. And Madison wanted to know how Bill feels about her dating her. And I said, he don't know yet. I want to see how he gonna react as well. I definitely want to see how he gonna react. So then, I had looked down, y'all. I had looked down, so I didn't see it. I just heard Chelsea saying to Madison, do you know her? I didn't actually look at the screen. So did she not see? Did she just see Madison looking at the lady or something? Because I was like, wouldn't she knew who Allison was, right? I was like, I wasn't paying attention, y'all. I didn't see. I was looking down, writing notes and stuff. But yeah, so Madison was like, I think she's looking at you. It was Allison. She done came over here talking about some, what she said when she walked up? Let me see. She over here trying to get her back. I said, I don't know about that. I said, I don't know, y'all. But yeah, she was trying to get her back. Hold on, let me scan it. Let me see. Hold on. Excuse me. But yeah, Allison ends up coming over. She ends up telling Chelsea she missed her. Did she say that before Madison left? Because Madison was like, she really got to get home and stuff like that. So she was giving them time to talk. But she ended up showing back up and seeing them together. I said, no, Chelsea. You supposed to tell her to get the stepping. I said, you weren't supposed to tell the woman you currently with to leave. Well, she ain't tell her to leave, but you know what I'm trying to say. You supposed to say, you stay right here. She could go. But no. She don't sit up here. They having a conversation. But yeah, Allison ends up saying Craig isn't who she thought she was. Excuse me. Allison ends up telling Chelsea that Craig isn't who she thought. He's angry and bitter, and she's scared. So Chelsea was like, she can't see him being that way or whatever, and she suggested that she goes to the police, and she's like, no, I'm not ready for that yet. But yeah, she wants to pick up where they left off, and that's when Madison ends up coming back in, and I said, hold on. Why didn't I skipped over Leslie and Eva. I about to say, did I not write them down? Leslie and Eva end up meeting up or whatever. She over here. I said she's still trying to play her. Excuse me. I said she's still trying to play Eva. What y'all think? She gonna tell her that she lonely. She should have said, what they got to do with me? But yeah, Leslie tells Eva that she lonely and all this stuff, trying to imply that she missed her, and they would just talk about old times. And Eva just was encouraging her, and I can't believe I almost forgot it. Y'all know how I always try to see some type of motivational message or some type of lesson out the shows I'm watching. What did she say? Eva was asking Leslie if she even remembers who she was, before Ted, before the community, and all this other stuff. And I was like, right on. I said, hold on. She was just telling her, trying to get her to see that she changed. She don't remember her being that way or whatever. And I said, I saw a message in there. Do you remember who you were before the heartbreak, before the pain? I said, message. That's deep right there. Which I said. But yeah, she was just encouraging her, and Leslie was crying and stuff, just saying it's good to know that she did something right. I said, you playing her. I said, what you up to? I said, she can't be trusted. Maybe it was actually genuine, but I said, she can't be trusted. She suggested that her daughter was the one who did it, and she was the one who did it. Then gonna tell her all this time. So now you what's it called, accomplice after the fact. I said, I said, I don't know if she could be trusted at this point. Then Kat and Jacob over here, they walk in, they end up seeing them together or whatever. So they end up sitting down. Why they sitting up here talking about the case right there while she right there? Well, I said, why? You ain't supposed to talk about, first of all, Jacob was supposed to get in trouble because you ain't supposed to talk to her about the case anyways. Then they sitting up there talking about the case. What did he say? He said something about the helmet. It's a scratch on the helmet, and they can compare it to the one in the photo or whatever, and then they got her. But when they find out that Kat the one planted the evidence, I said she gonna mess it up. And Jacob was basically telling her that about how she keeps on, she's gonna interfere and she's gonna mess up their whole case. I said, well, you might as well get ready for it. Because she doing way too much. She too desperate about it. Because he still was telling her, explaining to her, she needs to stop, she needs to slow down or whatever. But she's still over here, does this mean that she gonna get away with it and all this other stuff? And she said something to Leslie and Eva. What did she say? Let me see. Let me find it. Jacob said there has been a breakthrough at scratches on the helmet. And I said, why they talking about the case right in front of Leslie and Eva? Leslie admits it was a crappy thing to do, involve her in her situation about Ted. Kat ends up saying, you're a cook. And Leslie looked at Eva and she was like, what does she mean by that? And they supposed to be arguing in Ted's office. It looked like Ted's office on next week's episode. Eva's supposed to be telling Kat she a selfish little B word. I said, we. And Kat told me, so that's the best you got. I said, they finna fight. But wait, let me see what else happened, y'all. I done clicked the wrong thing. Let me see. What else? I think after she told her she was cooked, that's when they got her to leave. Was that it? I already said Joey and Randy, he wanted him to do something, but I don't know if he actually gonna do it. Kenneth and Bill, we'd already talked about how he told him he got 2 days to leave. Chelsea and Allison, we talked about her. We talked about Kenneth and Randy. Bill and Martin. That's another situation, because it's not just was Kat and Jacob talking in public. It was Martin and Bill. Well, mainly Martin. This fool, what did he say? Let me see. Let me find it. First of all, Bill ends up telling Martin that Kenneth won't be bothering him anymore. I said, a lie. He gonna be in there serving these folks on next week's episode. Excuse me. Martin, as soon as Martin seen Bill, he yelling, talking about some doggone, what happened? Did you make the payoff? I said, why would you yell that out? He said, what happened? Did you make the payoff? I said, this fool. I said, please help him, because he gonna end up getting himself in trouble. Oh, next week also, Smitty is talking to Jacob. He ends up telling him how he found a connection between Malone and Vernon. I said, it's getting deeper. Excuse me. It's getting deeper, but it's getting exposed. And Naomi's supposed to be on the phone with Jacob saying that he has to get to the hospital. It's an emergency. Do y'all think it's about what's her name, June? Do y'all think it's about June or somebody else? But I'm more interested in the Danny seeing Ashley and Ashley and Andre together. I'm ready to see that. Y'all know I've been waiting all week for this. But yeah, she's supposed to throw a break something. I said, and then they supposed to look. And I said, yeah. I said, look, if you done got caught slipping. She was honest with you, but you wasn't honest with her. Now she see it right there. He had every opportunity to tell the truth too. But at the same time, she was trying to hide him. I don't know. Because if they ain't exclusive, they say if you ain't exclusive, then you can do this and you can do that. I said, okay. Okay, keep thinking that. Then next thing you know, somebody pop up and give you that stuff. Then what? But yeah, she mad in the mud. She looking at him. He's a Danny back. I said, oh my goodness, bring out the bat. I said, bring out the bat. Hold on, let me see what else. Bill tells Ken he need to leave. We already talked about that. Leslie asks what she means by that. I think that was it, y'all. Yeah, I'm gonna give her a quick rundown of the promo again. Leslie is talking to Haley. She ends up saying, "So, friend, how are we gonna help each other?" Smitty tell they in public too. I said I know somebody see these folks. But yeah, Smitty ends up telling Jacob he found a connection between Malone and Vernon. Danny asks Vernon if what is bothering him related to Martin. Naomi tells Jacob she's at the hospital. Please come quick. It's an emergency. Doug walks in on Randy and Joey and he says what the H word. Vanessa asks Randy if he's afraid of Joey, and that's when he says he's terrified. Eva tells Kat she a spoiled, selfish little B word. Kat asks her if that's the best she got. Ashley got her arm and Andre arm, and he asks if she ready to turn some heads. They end up sitting at the table or whatever, and they show them look like their hands joined or whatever. And Danny threw, I don't know if she threw something or she broke it, but either way it goes, she's highly upset. And Andre see her. I said, that's right, that's right. I said, you had every opportunity. You had every opportunity. You could have told her. She asked you. You try to make it seem like she was imagining things. But okay, that's it. That's all. Let me know your thoughts on this episode down below. Stay tuned for the next review. Until next time, deuces. Have a great rest of the day, a great weekend, and be safe.